There is a saying, your network is your net worth, and no one is better to talk about this than Brett Al-Azzawi. Brett runs a national association called the National Lending Expert. I call Brett a power connector. Bill Walsh and the San Francisco 49ers won 3 Super Bowls using the West Coast offense. Would you like to win a Super Bowl in networking? Well, then this show is for you. Hey, ballers! Welcome to episode 102. In this episode, we're going to talk about West Coast offense in networking. And with me is Brett Al-Azzawi. Hey, Brett.
Hi.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Good to be here.
Yeah. What are you working on today?
Well, what am I not working on? Tons of stuff, as you know, when we talked in Vegas, planning the National Lending Experts Leverage San Diego, which is going to be a live event in February. We had to deal with some challenges due to the pandemic, but we are good to go. We're going to be live at the Sequan Casino and just tying up kind of loose ends and making sure this event goes off, and we're very excited.
Well, I reference you as a power connector, so you want to tell the audience how we met?
Yeah, absolutely. So met V through some friends of mine from Houston area lenders at the recent Las Vegas Apple event, which is American Association of Private Lenders. Fantastic event, and been going to it for years, and was able to just kind of meet V by a fluke, and we did what most folks do when they go to an event. They meet folks that they weren't expecting to meet and develop a relationship, and looking forward to seeing where it goes with us.
Isn't that amazing? I met you, and then we talk, and then you agreed to jump on this podcast.
Yeah, well, you threatened me a little bit, and I knew I got to be smart, so I knew that you meant business, so here I am.
Well, perfect. Thank you for being here. Can you maybe tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So, live and work in San Diego, California. Been involved with the private lending industry for about 6-7 years. I got started with a networking event for brokers, lenders, investors, capital providers. It's a national event, and was involved in business development with them, and really built my network and book of business through that event. And just before the pandemic hit, decided to, with the help of many other professionals in my book of business and our network, go out on our own and start the National Lending Experts, which is a networking conference, a networking experience designed to allow private lenders and private lending professionals to meet, exchange deal flow, collaborate, expand their network, and provide a resource to others to build their book of business and scale. So what we do is we facilitate the ease of building your network. So when folks come, they understand that doing business over a phone call or an email or in LinkedIn is valuable, but it's not the same, and it doesn't replace face-to-face connections like we had in Vegas. That's when you really figure out, hey, I like this person, I trust them, I want to do business with them. And what we do with the NLE is put your business, whether you're a broker, a lender, a real estate investor, we put your business in a time machine, and we fast forward you 20 years into the future, and all of a sudden you have this expansive network of people that you can leverage. And funny enough, our first event coming up in San Diego is Leverage San Diego. So it's all about leveraging partners, information, collaboration, anything you can do to build your business.
So did you learn leveraging from jiu-jitsu days?
Absolutely. That's funny. Absolutely. It's all about leverage. And if you're not leveraging, you're losing. So that's what I started with jiu-jitsu, and here I am, applying the same principles to, private lending network.
So for the audience that didn't know, when I was introduced to Brett, people said, don't mess with Brett. He's a master in jiu-jitsu.
Well, I'm not a master, but I had plenty of mat time, and competed for years and learned a lot, mostly by getting beat up. So I was able to leverage that experience and take it to the business world, and it definitely carries over. And those people that are involved in competition like a jiu-jitsu tournament or MMA, they find it it translates well.
That's very cool. So you from San Diego?
Not originally.
And yeah, and like I said, I call you a power connector. And I learned this term from a book written by Judy Robinette. A book it's about networking, and the title is How to Become a Power Connector. So, Brett, you mentioned something earlier that with COVID, it's affecting you. So can you tell us maybe how is this new normal affecting what you do? Because with you being a power connector and having face-to-face, how are you dealing with that?
Yeah, so the pandemic has definitely altered everyone's business. For us, we're going to be a little limited on our attendance, but we're still, we're sold out, but we won't have 500, 600 people there, which makes people comfortable because you really don't want to be shoulder to shoulder with people at this time. So for instance, the venue that we're going to be at, Sequan Casino Resort, which is on tribal land, which is giving us the opportunity to put on an event in California. But when you go into Sequan Casino, they check your temperature. There's plastic almost in every dining area. In the dining area, there's plenty of plastic dividers. Even the slot machines they've taken seats out, so you're not right on top of each other. And they're really, even the exhibitor booths are all spaced out. So when we go to this, it's going to look a lot different than it used to. But the people that are attending and are registering and are calling and expressing their desire to be at a live event because they understand how important it is to their business that they are with their clients face to face, even if it means 6 feet apart with a mask on. They understand the importance of it. So they can't wait to get there. They're literally rushing to get signed up and be there. They don't have any problem with it, and it's the right people. It's not people that are kind of curious and, well, let me see what this is. It's all people that are doing business, that are deal makers, and they understand, and they're there, and they can't wait to be there. And they understand that we're at different times, and we can't do things we used to, and we're not going to, we're not promoting handshaking and hugging. We're promoting fist bumping and nods and, hey, how are you? But you'd be surprised. When we're in Vegas, people seem to make it work. We just adapt, we adjust, and we get things done. We're problem solvers. So problem solvers are going to find out a way to solve problems.
Right. We'll work it out. We'll figure it out.
We'll work it out. We always do.
Yes, because, I think when this first hit, all the events, everything got shut down. Like all events, big national events were canceled. All local events were canceled. And I think people miss that. I feel like, a lot of people are ready to meet face to face again. What do you think about that?
Well, here's a terrific story. When we first booked the San Diego event, we had it scheduled for November 10th, a week after the election, in downtown San Diego outside. And we sold it out. And as soon as we got to a place where we, about a month away, where we knew that we could see the restrictions weren't going to loosen up for San Diego County, we had to make some tough choices. And the choice that we made was to move it out east to tribal land that were very inviting to us and understood what we needed and our the needs of the event, and they were able to accommodate our group. And I, instead of sending an email to almost 200 people, I said, this isn't going to work. I got on the phone, and this is a great lesson for people that are in sales. I got on the phone and I said, I got to save this event. I'm going to save every one of these attendees and sponsors. I got on the phone, and it took me 3 days, but I called everyone personally, got them on the phone, and explained to them, here's our challenges. We're going to have to move the event out east about 20 minutes, and we're going to have to change the date to February. Everyone was, and I said, look, if you would like a refund, I understand completely, and I'm willing to do that for you right now. Not one person asked for a refund. Not one. I was shocked. If I would have sent an email, most people would have been like, I'll just charge my card back. That didn't happen. These people understood how important it was to their business that they are there face to face and they put their brand on the shelf, and they couldn't wait, and they were so supportive, and I was filled with so much gratitude. So with each call, had more and more gratitude to these folks, and it was like it was nothing. So they're like, no problem, I'm there. Let's do it. So that's a great.
That's called commitment. You really committed to what you do. So, you know.
Can I just add something?
Go ahead.
It was a great learning lesson for me and for everybody to realize, hey, you got to have a strong message. You got to have gratitude, and people will pick that up, and you can take your business so much further by picking up the phone and calling these people, calling your friends in business, calling your clients.
Yeah,
they want to hear your voice.
Gotta make that phone call.
Gotta hear your voice.
Sometimes the text message and the email just won't do.
Doesn't do it.
So I know today some of it we want to talk about how when the people that come to attend these events, how to make the best of it. But first of all, maybe share with us, because, putting a local event together is one thing. I feel like you just send some email, you send some invitations, people show up, but you put in a national event together. I mean, how do you get all these people to show up?
Well, like it goes back to, your book of business, and your book of business is just a bunch of folks that you like and trust, and they want to be in business with you because they want to see you succeed. I provide that resource to folks and provide tremendous value by making these introductions, whether it be at the events or through. If sometimes these folks call me and say, "Hey, I met you at an event in Miami about 2 years ago, doing this now, and I want to. Do you know any construction lenders that will do a deal in Arizona?" Of course, make those connections. I'm happy to do it. Provide that value. So, most of these people I called them up and said, "Hey, we're doing an event." That's all you needed to say. Where is it? I'm there. They understand the value. It's not that it was really not that challenging to fill this event. And we have another event in Dallas that's going to be in May, and I'm already starting to figure out where I'm going to put these people in Dallas. So we're cruising right along.
Hope you're not sold out yet.
Getting there. Well, we will sell out in Dallas because a lot of these folks that want to be there in San Diego just can't get in because we're sold out in San Diego. So like, well, what do you recommend? I said, I recommend you sign up right now for Dallas in May. Okay, let's do it. So.
Well, California has a little more strict rules than we down here in the south of Texas.
That's true. It's almost the Wild West out there. But look, the hotels that we're dealing with, take the virus very seriously, and it should, they're giving us, we're under their restrictions, and I'm okay with that. I want this to be a safe experience for everybody. Yeah. And people, like I said, nobody's called and said, "Hey, I got some concerns." They understand, and we're taking every precaution to make it a safe event. We're just in Vegas. That event, I mean, it was a packed casino, but people came out of there and they felt good. They felt good about it. They felt that there was the necessary, social distancing in place. So,
yeah, at the end of the day, you just do what you feel safe, and put measure in place to protect your attendees, right?
Sure.
So let's flip this around. I'm an attendee. Okay. I'm going to come to one of your events. What are the tips that you're going to have for me as far as preparing myself at these events so that I can become a power connector like you?
Well, V, first of all, you're going to have a strong message. People are going to decide in the first 10 seconds if they like you, trust you, and want to learn more about you. I'm going to say to people that go to events that don't have a whole lot of experience, attending networking events, to ask a lot of questions. Don't talk about yourself. Nobody cares. Ask questions. Listen to people. Get personal. I mean, not too personal, but ask, hey, I see you're from Houston. Are you a Texans fan? Are you a baseball fan? Are you an Astros fan? That's when people start talking and really get to know each other, because everybody in my book of business, I can look at it and I can go through the list and I can say, this guy's a Woody Allen fan. This guy likes Seinfeld. This guy's a Chicago Cubs fan. This guy's from New York. He likes the Yankees. You have to match these people with you got to find something that connects them. And that's how you really develop those relationships. When you call folks up, oh my God, the Yankees didn't do so hot last night. When are they going to get some pitching? That's a great way to start. Next thing you know, you guys are discussing business.
So strong, you said strong message. You're saying I need to prepare my elevator speech?
Elevator speech. Hey, look, I make it a point to talk to people at events in an elevator. I always do. I always put that in mind. And you only got about 8 seconds before you get to where you're going in an elevator. And at that point, they're going to decide if they want to talk to you more, or they go, hey, have a great day. It's good talking to you. Because that's not what you want to hear after 10 seconds. You gotta keep them engaged.
So you gotta prepare your elevator speech, your introduction, right? And then you said ask questions. So do you prepare a set of questions you would ask?
I wouldn't say that. I always want to find out about. I want to find out about that person personally. Because, like I said, going back to it, we all want to do business with folks we like and trust. And if we don't really like them, and we don't know if we trust them, and we don't connect with them on that level, what we got? We don't have anything here. So that's important. Depending on what you do, and whether you're a broker or a lender or a real estate investor, people are going to pick up on your enthusiasm. If you have a lot of enthusiasm, and if you have gratitude for being there at that particular moment, whether you're in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, or Miami, Florida, if you show enthusiasm, people are just drawn to that. People are going to just gravitate towards you. And when they do, you got that, you develop that relationship, and you're able to sit down and have a cup of coffee, have a cocktail, go find a place to sit down and talk about, where you see your business and where you want to go, and how can that person help you. That's what the NLE is. It's a place to take your business 20 years into the future. What the NLE is makes us different than every other event that is out there, organization, is we're built around a group of expert advisors, and they all represent a unique piece of the private lending process. So we had folks we have 13, or I believe we're 14 advisors, and what they do is, when you come to the event, they are the face and voice of that particular asset class or piece of the private lending process. So we have single family residential, bridge lending advisor, investment capital, construction management. Even if you're a new flipper and just want to come and expand your network and meet people and say, well, I'm thinking about doing a flip, or I've done a couple flips. I want to kind of talk to more flippers. We have an advisor who's been on those courthouse steps, that has dealt with those challenges, and they have become the face of our event. So when you come to the website and look around and try to get a grasp of who we are, or come to the event, there's somebody there waiting to talk to you. They've already committed to providing that resource to you, because they understand if they help solve your problems, they're going to have their problems solved in return. They have a tremendous amount of gratitude. And I keep going back to that G word, gratitude.
So what I hear you say is, come with your set of problems, whatever you need to help maybe solve, prepare, kind of fine tune what they are, maybe have your top 3 problems, right? Is that what I'm hearing? And then also come prepared to offer help. How can you help? And start with that. Did I hear you right? So start with offering to help.
You sound like an expert. Absolutely, 100%. Now you get it. You want to come and offer a resource to others, because you have a unique skill set, B. Most people out there aren't able to do what you do, but you may have some challenges that you are facing that you are looking for assistance on. You're going to have tremendous amount of success coming to any event, not just NLE, but any event out there. Anytime you have the opportunity to talk about your business to somebody and ask them questions about theirs, and you like them and trust them, you're going to find a way to do business and solve each other's problems.
I agree. I think it's really beautiful when you have that book of business and you have the ability to pick up the phone and call anyone when you need something, from your book of business. Let's get to that something you said earlier. Let's delve into a little bit about the mindset when you go to these events, because there's two sides of this, right? I know there's people who come to these events and they just kind of passing through, going to different sessions and breakouts, and then join the happy hour, and then the next day do it over again. But really, I think you said earlier, be in gratitude. Maybe tell us a little bit more about that. What does that mean? That mindset of making the most out of these attending these events.
Like I said, the first thing I do when I get to an event, besides grab a cup of coffee, as I go to the exhibit hall. I smile as much as possible. I make eye contact with people. And when you do that, you're going to find that the people you're supposed to meet, you're going to meet them through that. You have a strong body language. I go up to an exhibit booth and I start asking questions. Where are you guys from? Where are you located? Tell me what you do. And then as soon as they say where they're from, you may have an aunt that lived there. Oh, I've been to Portland, Oregon several times. Are you a basketball? You like the Trailblazers? I like the Trailblazers too. Like I said, going back to really, instead of just talking rates and terms, that's boring. Nobody wants to do that right away. You got to see if you like people and trust them. So I ask a lot of questions. I want to make people feel good about themselves and ask as many questions as possible. It's the best way to do it. Talk to as many people as you can. Tell them what your challenges are. Ask them what their challenges are. You're going to find that it's organic.
This episode is brought to you by Buzz Vacation Rentals, a premier property management company in Houston and Galveston area. Give Buzz a call to learn more on why it makes more sense for you to rent out your investment home short-term over long-term. Check out their website at listwithbuzz.com. Again, that is listwithbuzz.com. Now, back to the REBallers show. Would you call himself an introvert or extrovert?
Me? Well, let me just tell you, I'm very, very much an extrovert. Love when I'm at an event. When it's over, I want to get to my room and be by myself. I need to recharge by myself. But I understand that to be successful, to really grow your business and scale, you have to have a strong book of business. Expand your network as much as possible, because people are going to come and they're going to go. You always have to be ready to replace that person or company, because people may decide that they don't want to be in lending anymore. They want to become a chef, a pastry chef. Well, guess what? You're probably going to have a more challenging time doing business with that person when they're a pastry chef and you're in private lending. So, but that doesn't say that they don't have any value anymore, because anybody can help you solve your challenges. Everybody provides value if they're in business. I believe that. You always have to be prepared to replace folks in your book of business. And that's why going to events is so imperative, because people retire. People decide to do other things. You have to replace them, B.
Yeah. You got to have at least 3 of each of category, right?
If that, maybe more.
Maybe more. That's right. So what you said was, you don't have to be an extrovert to make relationship, to connect with people at these events.
You don't have to be an introvert or an extrovert. No, absolutely not.
Okay.
No, did I say I was an extrovert? I'm an introvert.
Yeah.
I'm a total introvert. I did say extrovert. Excuse me. I'm an introvert 100%. 100%. No, you don't need to be. Absolutely, 100%.
I'm like that too. I would go to these events and meet people, and then I need my withdraw into my own space for a little bit to recharge.
I'm with you. Because that, if you don't have that recharge, you can just be hurting yourself. I'm not one of those people, and the thing they say about going to events to me is like, some people say, well, get there, be the first one there and be the last one to leave. Well, that's not great advice. And I'll tell you why it's not great advice. Because if you get there first, you look desperate almost. You want to show up on your time when you feel ready. Because I'm not ready to talk to people at 8 o'clock in the morning always. I need coffee. I need the juices to be flowing. And if by 4 o'clock, I've talked to so many people that I'm wiped out, talking to another person may hurt my business. So you got to know when to say, hey, I just don't have it. I'm going to go back. I'm going to relax. I'm going to take my shoes off. I'm going to lay down in my room for a little bit. And I'll come back down when I'm ready. And I encourage that. People say, get there right away. I used to, even my mother, when sometimes I'll call my mother, she'll say, where are you? I said, well, I'm at Atlantic City. Oh, what time does your event start? Well, I think it started about 20 minutes ago. She'll say, well, you better get down there. I said, no, I'm not shoveling a driveway or mowing the grass or digging a ditch. I'm out there developing relationships and meeting people. What's the rush? I'm going to go on my own time. And if that time is not for another couple of hours, that's just the way it is. I don't make that decision. So you go on your own time because that's when you are at your best.
So before you go to the event, prepare your elevator speech, your introduction. When you get there, be ready to be curious, be enthusiastic about learning about other people, whoever you're talking to.
Absolutely. And here's something of tremendous value that I'd like to share with you and your audience. My mentor always used to tell me, if you can't explain what you do in 14 words or less, you don't know what you're doing. And that couldn't ring more true. So if you can't do it in 14 words, you got a problem. You got to figure out how to change your message because your message isn't working. After 14 words, that person you're speaking with should be able to tell if you're somebody that they could want to talk to further. So that's great advice.
Cool. And then that minute when you walk into that event, you're going to turn that showtime on, right? Flip that switch.
That switch starts and that rocky music or whatever background music you play in your head starts when you get out of your car and walk into the arena or walk into the hotel. You start walking. It's all in your walk, and you have your body language should say everything about you. Sticking your chest out, shoulders back. People see you and they go, "Hey, this person looks like they have something going on, and they're showing that they are successful and they feel good about themselves." You might want to talk to them and see what they're up to.
Gotta own it.
Totally.
That's it. Do you personally have any tip or tricks for the audience to keep track of who they meet?
Let me tell you what. I love my iPhone notes. Like I use that thing so many times. And I use my phone and I'll take a picture of if I'm talking to them and I have to run to a meeting or they have to run to a meeting, somebody has to excuse themselves, I'll take a picture of their name badge.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll go back to it. I may go back to it the next day. I love to use LinkedIn. So what I'll do is I'll take a picture of that person's name badge. Joe Smith. I'll go on, and I know he's from ABC Lending. And I'll go on LinkedIn, and I'll see if I'm friends with him already. And if I'm not friends with him, I'll connect with him. And I'll send him a message. And there's nothing stronger when you reach out to somebody in an email than starting it with, "Hey, Joe, we just met in Vegas," or "We just met in Albuquerque, New Mexico." Now you have his attention or her attention.
Yeah.
That's important. Use I don't want to say the word use. Let's use leverage. Leverage LinkedIn. It's so powerful. I've done so much business through LinkedIn. Like without LinkedIn, I would be nowhere. It's such a powerful tool. Use social media. Tell your story. If you meet somebody, you take a picture of their name badge, most likely they're probably on social media. They're probably on Facebook. They're probably on Instagram, which I love. And by the way, we're National Lending Experts, LinkedIn, at National Lending Experts, at Instagram. We don't have Facebook. We don't utilize, I use that more for personal stuff.
Right. So when you meet someone at these events, have a recap to yourself, right? Make your notes, and then maybe stalk them on social media.
Yeah, stalk them, of course. Well, look, like I said, it goes back to doing business with people we like and trust. So if you have the opportunity to look at their Instagram page and see that they, went to University of Michigan, that's a great way to get your foot in the door and reach out to them and get the conversation started. Hey, I went to Northwestern. We're both Big Ten schools. It's a great way to get going.
That's it. So, yep. Find that common link, probably.
Find that common link.
Yes. So beside your event, where would you go to learn about other industry events?
Well, like I said, social media is fantastic. I use it constantly. Word of mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Folks are always going to tell you, and that's another thing. When you're talking to folks, you always want to start with, hey, what's going on? What are you going to be? I'm going to be at NLE in San Diego in February. Well, what's that? And then all of a sudden they start telling others about where you're going to be, or they start posting about it. Then you get a phone call from that person saying, hey, I just talked to a friend of mine that you know, and he told me about this event. Can you tell me more? That's how it works.
Okay.
So if I call you and you say, I can't talk, I'm headed to an event, and I go, V, what are you talking about? What event you're going to? Well, I'm going to the, so-and-so mastermind in Dallas. Oh, well, I didn't know anything about that. Well, then you send me the email. All of a sudden, I get on a plane and I'm there for the next day. I've done that before. In fact, let me tell you the story. I reached out to one of my sponsors in New York.
Uh-huh.
And she said, I'm on the train heading to Atlantic City. And I said, well, what's that? She goes, well, it's the big national brokers event that's going to be tomorrow, Friday, Saturday. And I said, I didn't know anything about that. So she gives me the website. I look at the website. I see I got to be at this event. I make a plane reservation within the hour, and I take a red eye that night to go to an event. I show up at the event that 24 hours ago I didn't know anything about. I'm on the other side of the country. I show up to the event. I developed a relationship from that event that I would have never have developed. And that person is Nicole Andrews from Batstaff, who was our valuation advisor. She's fantastic. And we became friends. And she's got a unique story. So, like I said, you got to show up. Even if it means you got to make a last-minute trip. Sometimes you might not have a clean suit. Guess what? You're going to figure it out. You're going to be a problem solver. So what?
The event wasn't in Atlantic City. Would you have gone?
Are you trying to say that you got to go because it's Atlantic City? It wasn't that great. It was in the middle of February. It was ice cold. I show up. I didn't realize that Atlantic City didn't have an airport, so I had to fly into Philadelphia and as soon as I got to Philadelphia at 5 o'clock in the morning, I got an Uber from Philadelphia to Atlantic City, which is an hour. So I fell asleep in the back of this car from Philly to Atlantic City. I didn't really sleep. I show up. I get to my hotel room. I take a nap. I get down there when the exhibit hall opens at noon, and I met so many people from the event. It changed my business.
That's amazing. That's an example of, you cannot afford not to go.
Yeah, and I always tell people, hey, showing up is. What did they say? It's 80%, 90% showing up.
Yeah.
That couldn't be more true.
Yeah.
If you don't show up, you're already behind.
That's it. All right. So we wrapping up. I'm going to ask you questions that I asked every guest that I invited on the show. What's your favorite hobby?
My favorite hobby is running. And I'll tell you why. Or walking fast. You may not be able to run, but if you can walk fast, because what it does is it creates so many creative juices. It gets everything flowing. You get great ideas. You get out of your head, and you're really able to come up with some fantastic ideas. And really, it's great for your well-being. It's better for your well-being than it is for your physical well-being, I believe. So get out and run or exercise.
Do you run every day?
I can't run every day, B, because I'm 45 and it hurts my bones to run every day, but I do it 3 times a week.
About how far do you run?
I run about 5 miles, two and a half miles, and then 2.5 back.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. I'm not a runner. I run in one place.
I understand.
Okay. And how does the audience get in touch with you, Brett?
They can go to www.nationallendingexperts.com. They can find me on LinkedIn, Brett Al-Azzawi. They can find National Lending Experts on LinkedIn. They can find National Lending Experts on Instagram. And we're always posting and providing some content for folks. And that's a great place to reach us.
Great. I'll put your information in the show notes as well.
Great.